Hi, this is Denise Matthew, and today I'm going to do my first Human Design Oracle Energy card reading, and I'm going to do it for the time period March 24th to April 1st, and then hopefully I'll do another one next week. I'm going to pick 5 cards. The first card will be the current situation. The second card will be all about our expectations. The third card will be hidden influences. The fourth card will be advice for the week to come. And the fifth card is going to be the potential outcome of the week. So if we look at the first card, we see the Gate 56 or card 56. Now we can see a book. So what this can mean when we look at just the image, we can imagine that we're starting a new chapter or there's a new chapter beginning this week. So it sounds like it's going to be an important week because of that. So we can also look at the idea that it's called the storyteller. The storyteller is a person that can tell us exactly what's happening in the world. And the other thing about the storyteller is if we look at the idea that something is coming into being just from the mind you have. So for instance, we have the gate 11, and that would be attached to the gate 56 if we were looking at a human design body graph. So we can imagine that we have ideas, thoughts, or intentions, and we have them sort of coming into manifestation. So this is manifesting a new story or new ideas. So this week is going to be about new things that maybe we haven't seen before, or some new things that people have been thinking about being introduced into the world. So it's all about a new story and a new chapter. You can also see that there's almost like it's in a circle. So something's coming into focus. There's a new chapter or a new story coming into focus, some new ideas, some actually new ideas that are coming from ideas and coming into manifestation. So it seems as though things are going to start to happen. So that was the current situation. Now, if we look at the card 2, it's grace and the gate 22 or the card 22. And this is about our expectations. So we're looking at the swan, and the swan, the symbolism of a swan is that it's very beautiful, it's very graceful. And when we're talking about the energy of a swan, we can see the high side, which is the beautiful bird, and you see it, it's beautiful, it's all white, the feathers are perfect. And most people don't think of the other side of grace. And the other side is that sometimes you have swans who are very territorial. They want to take over the area where they're at. They'll chase other birds away. They can be bullies. They can be very vocal. They can be all the things that are opposite to grace, because everything has an opposite. And what's interesting is that not only is this card coming up, but we also have to remember that Neptune is also transiting the gate 22. Now, Richard Rudd talks about the gate 22. He talks about it being an energy of suffering in with grace, or suffering through things without sort of complaining, going within, finding out more about ourselves through our suffering, and how is it changing us for the better or sometimes for the worse. And it's 100% within keeping with what's happening in the world. There are people who are suffering, many people who are suffering, and there are people who are showing grace within the suffering, and there are people who are definitely not. We're seeing some of the worst behavior in humans, and we're seeing some of the best as well. So this is really the expectation. We are suffering, or we are going through a tumultuous time in the world, and how we deal with it is really how we look at the world and how we want to present ourselves to the world. And if we look at the energy of the gate 22 in human design, we can remember that it's an individual energy. So it's a me energy. There's a lot of creative expression. There's a lot of beauty in this energy. There's music in this energy, but there's also an individualism that is looking out for the individual, not necessarily others. So is there a balance between these energies, between me and between others? And when things are not going well and we have a lot of anxiety about what the future will bring, what's it going to bring out of us? They say that money can make people, horrible people, but that's not necessarily true. All money does for anybody is that it brings out more of who they always were. And so the question is, who are we? Who are we in times of trouble? Are we worse than we always are, or are we better? And those are the questions we need to ask. And there's one more thing about the symbolism of the swan that's quite amazing, is that when a swan is living its last moments of life, it sings the most beautiful song of its life, and that's considered the swan song. And even in its final moments, it's actually finding beauty in the world, or there's something to sing about. And I guess that's kind of the message that we can get, that no matter how tough life can be, there's always something to be thankful for, and there's always some level of gratitude that we can have in our lives for where we find ourselves, no matter what. Now, if we look at the third card, we see that this is the Hidden Influences card. And this is the card 36 or Gate 36, which is all about chaos. Now, what this can be is all about a quick fix, something that seems like it's good in the moment. So we see this girl and there's a ladder and it's coming from a floating world above her. Now, this floating world may look very inviting to her, may look like something better than where she's at because she's just in a field. But does she really know where she's going? Has she done the work to figure out that whether this is something that's good or whether this is something that may not be better than where she's at right now? It can look a little scary. You can look at the floating island. There seems to be some clouds around it or some level of not exactly there's no clarity there. You're not exactly sure, but in your mind you might think it's good. This is about an impulsive energy, a chaotic energy. It can be about jumping into chaos just because you're bored. People are bored, and who's more bored than a lot of people who are in isolation or doing home quarantining, or literally everything's been shut down in a lot of places. So there's a lot of boredom. And instead of, feeling bored, people might say, okay, well, let's just jump on this because I'm too bored to even stand another moment of this. So let's just do this. Now, what happens is it may look good in the moment, but what you could be jumping into is chaos. You could be jumping into worse circumstances than you are right now. And this is the energy of hidden influences, is that the boredom is getting sort of to be a big theme for people. And the question is, what are we going to do? Are we going to just jump on this new thing and say, oh, it's going to be better, even if we haven't done our due diligence and we haven't really worked it out? And the opposite side of just jumping into chaos is conflict resolution. So there is potential that conflicts can be resolved and things can get better in that respect. But again, there needs to be some level of figuring out what's going to work and what's not going to work, and not really just jumping just because you're getting bored and because you're getting restless and you just need something new and different. And the fourth card is going to be the advice. Now, the advice is the Gate 35, and I kind of think it's interesting how the Gate 35 and the Gate 36 came together, because that makes the channel the 3536, the channel of transitoriness. The channel is also an emotional channel, so it means that it can be an emotional decision that's being made. And it's also a channel that can be very impulsive because, again, we go back to this whole boredom idea of being bored with something and needing a change. Now, if we look at the Gate 35 or card 35, we see a woman and she's on a paper airplane and she's going to this new kingdom. Now, the thing about it is she's not just deciding to go on this paper airplane, and if you look below, the word that we see is experience. So in other words, she's experienced a lot of different things, and she just doesn't jump at every little thing that comes her way. It's got to be worth her while. It's got to be something that she has, has sort of piqued her interest. So she's not just jumping in. She's done her research. She's done a lot of different things. So she needs to have some level of impetus to be able to make a decision that on things. So this is a person who does the exact opposite of the Gate 36. This is a person who does the work, who figures out what's going to work and what's not going to work, and really what has their interest of where they're going to go. So they've done the work. So if we put those two energies together, there is potential for chaos, but there's also potential to figure out exactly, where we're going. But then if you remember, the Gate 35 or the card 35 is the energy of the advice, and the 36 is the hidden influence. So what they're saying is that the hidden influences are the hidden influences. We don't see it. We see a lot of chaotic energy, a lot of bored energy. Even if we're feeling it, there could be a lot of hidden energy as well. But then we also have, this is the advice we should take. Will we take this advice or will we not? Will we just jump because it feels better to get anywhere, but here is a better place to be? And that's the question that we're going to ask. So again, it's an emotional energy. It's a pulsive energy. And, it comes and goes. I mean, decisions can be made in the moment, and then they just kind of, that's it. The decision is made and there's no going back from it. And if we look at card 5, the last card, that would be the card that would give potentially the outcome of the week, what exactly the week will look at like. And what we see here is the gate 21 or card 21, and that's all control. And the symbolism of the owl is that the owl is only the one of the only birds that actually have a larder where they store food so that when they have times of problems getting food, they always have some food to eat. It is the energy of the gate 21, which would be the gate of the treasure, and the great gate of the treasure connects to the gate 45, which is the gate of the king or queen. So we have this energy of the king or queen who is, giving out to their people who are their subjects, and you also have the gate of the energy of 21. So we're just looking at just the 21. So this is just the treasurer. So what this is talking about is it's about making, what do we do as a treasurer? We sacrifice in this moment so that the future will be better. So this is an energy of control. It's an energy of sacrifice. So by controlling, for instance, controlling how much food we eat or how much food we use, we have more food that we can push forward so that we will be able to make it last longer. So the energy can also be about control, as in over control, controlling everything, trying to limit what people do, not allowing people to do anything other than what you want them to do. You decide what they do, when they do it, and how they do it. And the other opposite is just releasing the reins and allowing no control, and basically just allowing the person or whoever to do whatever they want. So what you could be doing is you could say, okay, well, this person, the king or queen, wants this, and so I will give it to them, and I will not do my duty. I will not take care of what I'm meant to do because I want to make them happy. So you're bowing to the control. You're bowing to the control of the king or queen. And we can talk about this control that we're talking about. It can be all about the idea of right now, a lot of people are feeling control because you have the shutdowns. We have a lot of, you can't go here and you can't go there. And, there's a lot of can't do's. And because of that, the whole idea is that if we control what's happening now, if we control what's happening in our life right now, if we control basically the spread of this virus, then in the future we'll have a better future. We'll have things that will work for us. So the sacrifice leads to a better future. But the question is, are we willing to sacrifice? If we're not willing to sacrifice, what's the outcome? Well, the outcome is that we can bow to our need for, the whole idea of the boredom. We can bow to the need for something new. We can bow to the need of wanting to have things back to the way they always were. And when we do that, what happens is that we can not sacrifice. And in the long run, we will not have made the path for the future a better path for us. We will have decided that the now in this moment is more important than preparing for the future. And the question is that what we're going to do? Are we going to prepare for the future, make these sacrifices that we need to make right now, or are we going to just push forward and say, I want what I want now, and I'm tired of being bored. I'm tired of, having to conform. So it all works together. It's a new chapter. The world is a brand new world right now, and how are we going to move forward? We're going to move forward with grace through our boredom, make the right decisions, make the right sacrifices, so that tomorrow will be a better tomorrow for us all. And those are the questions that are going to be asked this week. And I think, based on these cards, I think it's going to be a lot of things are going to happen this week. I think there's going to be, I guess we would say, decisions. Like, it's almost like things are always all going to come to a point, and we'll see how it all shows up in the long run. So I hope you enjoyed that. And the bottom line that I can see is that we have a new chapter coming. Whether we just deal with it with grace or not is our decision. It's going to be a potential to just want to jump ship because we're bored, but really trying to mitigate the ideas and the choices we make with the control that we need, so that our sacrifices will, in the long run, make for a better future for us. Or our lack of sacrifices may do the exact opposite. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.